praying we don't get any of the feedback we had a minute ago. Seems like we're good. Boys, put in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. If I'm coming through loud and clear for you, let me know. I'm not getting any feedback my end. You guys can hear. Bugger. It's happening again. How's it doing that? No. Oh, why are we getting this? You boys know I'm not good with the technology, and it's fucking with me. Oh, God. Oh, we've got to figure out an answer. I don't think screen rotation is gonna change the audio coming through twice. Maybe we just have to wait for a guest to come on. What can you boys hear? Are you getting feedback in your ear like you can hear yourself? Because I can hear myself in my headphone. Oh, nice. It's very good. Only me then. Only I can hear me. So that's fine. I'll take this. Yeah. Ren Angelo knows there's a whole bunch of nonsense going on. Boys, fire away your questions. I'll just take this out for now. Hopefully when David comes on, I'll be able to hear him all right. If I can't, well, we'll figure it out then. We just get through it. That's what we do. We just make sure we're getting through it time after time. As you can see, in Dubai, something up with the old phone. The old phone's not liking it today. He keeps trying to switch himself off. I'm going to try a little trick. I'm going to come back on. I'm just going to close the YouTube app and then reopen it. The old off and on again. That has hurt. I think that's fixed it. I'm a genius. I'm actually a genius. I'm a genius. Yeah, in Dubai at the moment. Pretty good. I'm not that good with technology. That's the problem, you see. Yeah. CEO of tech support. We need him. We need the CEO of tech support in there. I normally have somebody helping me out because I don't, it's my big fingers, man. It's the gorilla hands. I get a hold of that phone and I break them. I go through 3 phones a week. It's just it's a problem I have. Kanaka, good work. Starting a Muay Thai tomorrow. Genius. Yeah, Gorilla Tribe's going to be opening either tonight or tomorrow. We might send out a few places tonight. So if you're on the waiting list, just keep your eyes peeled. Come join us in the group. 2023 is going to be crazy for Gorilla Tribe because we're going to try and do a lot of like in real life meetups. I think what a lot of us are missing, do fun, masculine activities together. We don't go out and do fun stuff. So some of you might have seen I was at an airsoft event recently, just firing off some guns, just letting off some steam. And I think that's so important. So a big part of the 2023 plan is for Gorilla Tribe to just be meeting up way more, hanging out way more, giving guys cool masculine place to hang out. That's pretty much going to be the plan, and allowing you guys to level up at the same time with guys that are older than you, guys that are making that money. So yeah, if you want to join, boys, the link is in the description under my videos. Just go join the waiting list, and we'll send out some places because we're getting a little more exclusive now. But yeah, boys, drop some questions. I'm on for a Q&A. When David comes on, we'll get more into what David does, and I really want to ask David about how he's grown his YouTube business, because I think a lot of guys our age want to start a channel, or they want to find a way to make money online. I've done it with YouTube, and I think David is doing about 80,000 a month profit from his YouTube business. So I'm going to ask him a lot about YouTube and just a general state of masculinity and what's going on in the world, and red flags to look out for in women, and just general bits and bobs. What's my favorite herb for cooking? I don't cook, bro. That's what you get a girlfriend for. I've not been cooking for a long time, so yeah, I don't know what goes on in the kitchen. It's not for me. That's not what I do. I focus on what I'm good at. If I was going to use a herb, salt would probably be my favorite herb. Neo Luki. How do you work out your personality? It's a tough one, working out your personality. I think as you get older, you just become more comfortable being who you want to be, and your personality comes out naturally. The more hard shit you do, the more your personality develops. I do a lot of hard stuff because a lot of life when you're younger, you feel nervous. You don't feel like you can be yourself a lot of the time. So I think you just got to do more hard things. The more you fight, the more hard stuff you do, and the more you overcome, the more you just feel fine just coming out of your shell and saying what you want to say. I even get nervous now. I get nervous now. So it's certainly something you continually just work on. And you just bring out a lot of the stuff. When I've found from watching myself back on video, I always wish I was like a little bit sillier or a little bit more open. Whenever I see myself being really serious, I'm like, oh, Jack, what are you doing? So I think that's a good one. Be more serious. Meeting Hams has been very fun. We've been hanging out. Going to see him tonight because he's heading back. He's heading out of Dubai, so we're going out for dinner tonight, just after we get off this stream. But yeah, he's good. He's doing very well. He's blowing up all over the internet, so he's doing fantastic. There we go. We're just sending some messages through to David. He'll be coming on in literally 2 secs. Would I suggest doing boxing if you can't do Muay Thai? Absolutely. Go and hit up boxing for a bit. Get your boxing in. It's very similar to Muay Thai. You use a lot of boxing in Muay Thai. I find often we're better boxers than the Thais. Me and Jack in Thailand, me and my best buddy Jack, when we train Muay Thai, we've got more powerful punching because they focus a lot on the kicks. The elbow's more lethal. But boxing will give you a great start, and it's Muay Thai. You've got a lot to think about. So yeah, get it done. Get it done. Tell Hamza you love him. Okay, I'll do that. You strange fellas. Yeah, getting out into the woods for 3 days. We talked today actually on just texting. But yeah, I love chatting with First Man. That stream we did was funny, so we'll have him on again. Would I recommend dating apps after getting out of a 3-year relationship? Well, I got out of a 2-year relationship and I got on the apps because I think it's just when you're a bit out of the game, you need to meet some new chicks. You need to bring some ladies into your life. Sometimes it helps soothe the pain if it was particularly hard breakup. So yeah, get on the dating apps, give them a go. I think you'll be all right. I think you'll have fun. The cold approach I found is better odds because you've got so many guys, unless you've got a really good social profile, you've got so many guys that are on these apps and swiping and stuff, that it can be harder. So in person, you're kind of the guy with balls that goes up to her. So that can be very good. That's worth doing. What does my back tattoo mean? The story behind the back tattoo is I love McGregor. I always have loved McGregor. I think he's an absolute animal. I think he's a beast. I was a big McGregor fan, and he had a similar. It was one of the only tattoos I'd seen him for. Oh, I want that, but I can't get exactly the same as McGregor because that would be strange. That would be slightly odd. So I decided to go to a friend of mine who was an apprentice tattoo artist because I didn't have any money. He said he'd do it cheap if he could test out some designs, and yeah, so he did this nice tattoo on my back. It's similar to McGregor's, goes down the spine, but mine's a little different. It's actually a Kundalini, which is something to do with some Buddhism, some ancient wisdom. So that's good. How to deal with acne? What's my experience with it? To be honest, mate, my skin at the moment's been some of the worst it's been. I think I've just been putting some oils on there, tanning oil. Been eating a little bit rubbish recently because I've been traveling a fair bit. I think you've got to stop picking your face. Get those pores off the face, because if you're picking away, it's gonna mess up your face. That's what I do. Oh dear, David's having some trouble getting in. All right. Let's send him out a little link. Add guest. David, are you in there, David? David, where are you? All right, here we go. Add a guest. Copy link. Harry, you said you're a bit confused about when I eat my steak, if I do it before my work or after. Well, the reason why is because I don't. Every day is different. Some days I decide to just go on a fast if I really need to get some work done, keep my focus. I don't eat, but keep pounding that steak all day if you can. After work's always good. Sometimes in the morning, if you're bulky and you don't have any work to do, just start eating straight away. You get more calories in. Cigars, do they increase testosterone? Yes, they do, but you've got to know the dangers. Dangers can get some cancers in the mouth, maybe in the lungs. So be careful. Certainly not good for you. I do sometimes get a sore throat after the cigars are just a bit harsh on the throat, but it's good. Testosterone boosting. Every once in a while, they're pretty cool, but don't get into them too young. Even when I look at myself having them, I'm like, oh, Jack, what are you doing? You're a bit young for cigars. Oh, David's coming in. Let's get him in here. Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, bro. I was trying to join from my laptop. I guess it's just not going to let me accept join from the phone, which is all good.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, bro.
Oh dear. Have you got that? Have you got the like the echo coming through on your end, David?
I think I was playing it also, but I think it should be. I don't hear an echo now anymore. Do you still have an echo or not?
No, we're back in business.
All right, man, bro. I got this all hooked up to the laptop for like perfect quality, and then it's not working. But that's life.
Yeah, with it's these like new lives on YouTube. You can't hop on a camera. You have to just do it on your phone. But before, I don't know if you streamed before, but it's so much harder to stream when you put on a camera and like set it up with Discord and stuff. That was just too much tech for me. Way too much tech.
All good. We're here now.
Yeah, whereabouts are you in the world, David?
So I'm in Marbella now. You're in Dubai right now, right?
I'm in Dubai at the moment. Yeah.
Ready? I'll pop out here since I don't have to use the camera anyway. It'll be a little bit nicer. How you liking Dubai?
Dubai's all right. I've been here for like 3 days. I've just come from Thailand, so it's very, very different. I'm used to my freedom. I'm used to living in the jungle. I'm used to swinging from the trees and just doing what I want. And I come to Dubai, it's a little bit strict. There's a few rules, so I'm just feeling it out at the moment. I'm just
Yeah,
feeling it out.
I've never been, but it seems to be a hot spot now. Actually, a lot of people, because Marbella is very international where I'm at now. So this is in the south of Spain here, and it seems a lot of people like will spend the summers here and the winters in Dubai. A lot of the people I've met here, which is interesting. But I gotta make a trip out there soon.
Because it's mega hot out in Dubai in the summer, and I think Marbella is probably pretty nice in the summer.
Yeah. Well,
You speak some you speak some Spanish, David?
yeah, I'm half Spanish. So my father's from Spain, not from Marbella, he's from Sevilla. But I speak Spanish, which is here you can get by with English, but it's good to know. It's good to know.
Ah, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Todo bien, hombre, todo bien. You're from
Bien, bien. Yeah, from the UK, originally, and then just moved to Thailand a year ago. Started out on the YouTube, started doing the YouTube stuff, and it's brought me to Dubai finally, just to hook up, do some collaborations and stuff. Um, but I wanted to ask you, man, because I found out you've been doing YouTube since 2014. Is that right?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think I created the channel 2014, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
2017 is when I like started uploading consistently. Before that, I had like that was like the age of like blogging. So I had a blog, and like once in a while, I'd like talk out a blog post on camera. 2017 is when I really started YouTube.
And for like anyone that doesn't know you from my channel, what was your sort of origin story? How did you get into the male self development space? How did you sort of get onto YouTube and make your business? Where were you and
I think I lost you. I got you now. I got you
oh,
now. Yeah.
you got me, yeah?
Yeah, I got you. No, I heard the question. Yeah, so I was living in Boston, so in the north of the states, and I was following the regular life path, man. You know, like college. After college, I was working as a software engineer, but just not really. I mean, for a lot of us, I think dating tends to be like the gateway drug, and for me, it was. I was kind of. I went through college, lost my virginity towards the end of college, but it was like painful seeing everyone else like really know, or it seemed like they knew what they were doing at least, and I was just like basically afraid of women in general. So it was like after that, early 20s was when I linked up with some other guys trying to get better with girls. Started there, and from there I started the YouTube channel and the blog first. So I guess just to kind of like share like lessons that I was learning along the way, and then from dating it turned into the fitness around the similar time, and then it turned into YouTube, and I kind of fell in love with filming, editing videos, and the YouTube channel started to grow, and then since then we've launched a few. We have a clothing brand, we have a supplement brand, we have fitness apps. So we've launched a few things off of the YouTube channel. But I guess it started with dating in terms of my life, the changing to self improvement, and then YouTube was like the spark that that brought me to where I'm now. I guess back in 2017.
And how did you build that? Like the YouTube channel, obviously you've got over 1 million subs, which is stuff that most guys, they're like, that's amazing. We could build a massive business off the back of that, which I think from looking at things you've done. How did you have any strategy towards YouTube when you got into the game? Was there stuff you did to get subs, increase engagement? It's something my guys ask me all the time. It's like, how can they start a YouTube channel in this day and age and try and make a living off it? Because it can be such a good life, such a cool life.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it's like riding waves. You got to find there's different waves of content that go through YouTube, and I think the first videos I did that caught on were like approach videos in the street, right? Because back in 2017, it was the age of like there was pickup artists, but you always had to like pay to see them approach girls. You never saw, it was never like the free content. So I'd go out in Boston and approach girls and film it, and I wasn't like necessarily very like good at the time, but I think I was sharing some awkward ones, some normal ones, and those were some of the first videos that were like. So I started uploading 2 videos a week in 2017, like January, with maybe 2,000 subs just from like the blog, and then by August, all of a sudden I started getting like 1,000 subs a day, and it was from all these videos approaching girls. So I think that's what like I got started with. But it's you like I said, YouTube goes in waves, and I think from there, and I got kind of sick of filming those videos after a couple of years. They're just kind of a pain, and I mean, it's not. I think people don't even realize when they watch them, but when you see a girl in real life and you make eye contact and you go approach her, it's like there's a bit of this excitement. It's organic, and sometimes there's just this vibe, and then you have to like really manufacture it when you're trying to especially when you're doing it with like a friend who doesn't know how to use the camera. But it's like, all right, bro, like I basically got to approach this girl like in front of this staircase right here. So we got to wait here until an attractive girl approaches by in this exact position. And then I'm talking to the girl and I'm seeing that my buddy's like messing up with the camera and I'm like trying to like like turn the girl around. But yeah, so I moved on past those. But to answer the question, I think a lot of times you have to identify kind of like what's the current wave of content that people are excited to consume, because I don't think that would necessarily skyrocket a channel in 2023 anymore.
I don't know. I don't know. I think anything social, like it's normally like you said, the hardest content to make because you've got to go out there, you've got to speak to girls, like it can be nerve wracking. You've got to have someone there with a camera, like it's a pain in the ass. If she sees the camera, it's kind of awkward. So I always say to my guys when they ask, I'm like, if you can do anything like pretty awkward, like out in public with people, I think that does well. I've seen you're using the shorts quite a lot. Has that brought much growth to the channel like recently? Using the YouTube Shorts, you reckon not so much?
It's really only been maybe not even 1 month since I've started. So I think it's a bit early to say. There's definitely a few that have like 6 million views, which like sounds cool, but I don't know. I'm skeptical in terms of what's the carry, because I'm someone who's like a YouTube purist, I guess I would say, and I really like longer videos that are more cinematic. There's like some elements of like storytelling involved, and with shorts, it's a new content form that I don't mind making it and filming them, and I know they can be valuable to people, but I don't know other than like rapidly getting numbers, because like TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, it's easier to post something with no followers, and the algorithm's more fair to those videos than like a long form YouTube video, where I think a lot of it's based on like
Yeah,
how many people are actually clicking on the video. But I'm not sure, other than like views, it's too early to say if it's really feeding into like actual followers. You know what I mean? Because I don't care so much
got
about
ya.
views, but I do care about like actual people who to me that's what it's about, right? It's about like building a community of people who actually are like together. It's not about, I don't know, a million random people who swiped by the video for 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, I got you. And when you were younger, can you remember a point where you were struggling? Like you were kind of struggling to get anywhere? Because I speak to so many young guys and they're like, they don't know what they want to do. They don't know where to start. Everything seems so difficult for them. Is there a struggle that you overcame that you thought that was a key moment for me in making things easier? Like I stopped doing a certain thing and now my life is getting better. I'm actually on a rise because I find so many guys that just don't even know where to start. They're struggling like big time.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm curious about your life as well, because I'm sure you had similar deep. I think everyone in this space has had some deep pain that we've gone through that's caused us to have this like reaction against it. But
Yeah, yeah.
for me, when I was younger, I think like the first like deep pain I had was like going into high school, not having, again, it was like seeing my friends have girlfriends, seeing my friends start to hook up with girls, and just feeling completely helpless. Like it's just not possible. And then basketball was also like, it was my childhood. It was like basketball and video games, and I was always like drew a lot of my confidence and I think just my self worth from basketball. And then in high school, my coach like benched me, and then I felt completely worthless because I was like, well, now I don't have girls and I don't even have basketball. And then through college, I had really low self esteem where it was the same thing. I felt like I was watching other people be happy, but I wasn't like, sure, I was good academically. I could work hard, but I felt kind of worthless socially. And I think little by little, I think it was after my third year of university, I was in actually visiting Spain because my family's from here. And I was on the beach and my cousin showed me this book. It was like one of the early pickup books. I think it was called like The A Game. And we read through this book. It was like 300 pages in like a few hours on the beach. And I was like, wait, is this a part of my life that I could change? And then I went back to school the last year of university, and I was still completely awkward and awful and weird with trying to talk to girls. But like I started to get laid a few times here and there. And then I think it was still a few years after that, because for me, it's not something that just like clicks, if I'm being honest. And I think a lot of guys get frustrated because they have all this pain and they find, maybe they find your channel and they see, oh, maybe there's some hope, but they try and go implement it, but it's still like, it doesn't like click. And that can be even more demotivating because it's like, man, I'm trying to do something and it's still not working.
Mhm.
I'm really am a loser. Like I can't even do this. I think for me, it was probably 2 years of struggling in terms of talking to girls while also working on like improving my body in the gym. that after, maybe after that 2 year period of struggling, it started to feel natural for me. But it was definitely a lot of like social pain and just feeling like a loser.
Got ya. Mine was, I don't think mine was so much like, it wasn't really with the girls because I was always pretty slick with the girls from like a fairly young age. I always liked the girls. When I was younger, I used to do acting and stuff. I did a lot of drama. So you're around a lot of chicks then. So I got fairly slick with the chicks. I always had girlfriends from when I was younger. My problems, my demons were more, I would self sabotage quite badly, which I think quite a few guys can get their heads around. So whenever I would start getting somewhere, I would always go off on some sort of binge. Normally, that included alcohol and drugs. I don't know if that's something of you. Is that something you've dealt with, like addictions with alcohol and drugs, or any addictions for that matter?
Ah, man, it's funny because we have different backgrounds, which is awesome. Ah, I was kind of one of the kids in like high school and was younger who just didn't drink at all because I just didn't even go to parties because I was so awkward. So it's not something I struggle with. But do you think that that's what led you more into the path of self improvement? Was like getting through those type of addictions?
Yeah, 100%. For me, it was like my issue's always been myself. Like it's never really been an outside thing. It's always been just conquering the inner demons, looking at why do you do that stuff? Why do you go crazy and take drugs and drink a lot of alcohol and go out and not do your work? Because you can get to a point where you're doing things really well. I don't know, maybe you get it now with your business. Like you've made a great business, and maybe sometimes you know exactly what you need to do, but you just don't do it. You sabotage yourself. And I found I was doing that a lot, and then I decided to just leave and come to Thailand, and then Thailand was crazy for me. I think moving location for me massively changed my mindset, massively changed my mind to what I could become, sort of
Well,
as a
I
person.
think
That's what led me into it.
it's interesting because it took you moving to Thailand. For me, it took me quitting my software engineering job. I think it does take like making some massive change that's gonna force your like life to disrupt the pattern that it's in because I feel like we're a lot of times we're helpless. Like we want to change, we know we need to do it, we don't do it. But then like you said, just being in like Thailand, or for me, it was like not going into work. Instead, I was like going into a gym as a personal trainer, like trying to sell people on personal training. I think sometimes you need to make this crazy disruption in your life that makes you almost start to rebuild mentally from scratch a bit.
Well, because you went to university, what do you think about university now for young guys? What should they do it, or should they just look straight into business or online business, something like that?
It's tough because I don't feel that university was kind of rough for me, right? Because I got good grades. I got a good job out of university, but then I quit that job before even one full year was up, and it didn't really. I mean, the biggest for me personally, the biggest thing I got from university was all the pain that I experienced made me be like, fuck that. Like, I'm going to change who I am. I'm not going to be that guy anymore. But in terms of actual value, I think it's tough, man. Because if you're someone who's like self motivated and you can genuinely take the 4 years and bro, I don't know what, like 100,000, 150, 200,000, whatever money you're going to be paying to go, and you actually like apply that to like, I don't know, let me try and get started on YouTube. Let me move to Thailand. Let me try and, I don't know, take some online courses to learn some type of online marketing skill or something. Like I think you could probably your life would outpace going to college. And
Mm.
I don't know. And then if you're someone who's lazy, it's not. You're probably just going to go waste your money at college, or you're going to go like waste your life if you don't go to college. So I don't know. For when I have children, because I think that's the one interesting way to look at it, right? When I have children, I'm not going to like pressure them to have to go to university, but I think I would challenge if they're not going to go. I would challenge them. Okay, so like, what's the plan then? Like what's the plan going to be for the next 6 months or the next 12 months?
I think it's a good point. I think when people, if you went to your parents and let's say your son or whatever came to you and said, "Dad, this is what I want to do. I don't want to spend the money on university, but I want to try YouTube. This is the idea that I've got. This is how I'm going to make content. These are my steps." If you put together like a little business plan, you take it to your parents, I think they'd be proud of you. I think if there's any guys they feel like they're super pressured to go university and they don't think it's right for them, put a little plan together, show the parents. I think that'd be all right. If my son came to me with that, I'd be like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Go try that. Go risk it all.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think a lot of us are limited by our parents too, right? Because and it could be one way or the other, but if some parents for sure believe that like if you don't go to university you're a failure, right? Like there's definitely parents out there that believe that, and if those are
I,
your
I think so. Yeah.
those are your parents. That's a tough situation, but that's I don't know. That's probably something you have to communicate with them, but they may only want to support you going to university. Yeah, I think it
I'd
would be a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, I'd always say to people, if you're, and people ask me this all the time, like my parents won't let me go to the gym, or my parents won't let me fight. My parents won't, they want me to go to university. They don't want me to start a business. I always say just dip, because otherwise you'll resent your parents. If you follow your parents' path and you follow that into when you're older and you do all the stuff that they say, and then you'll get to a point where you resent your parents. You don't want to be around them. So I always think it's better to burn the bridge. Just burn the bridge now, piss them off. Maybe you don't get the support, but still love them. Still love them. Do your thing. Make sure you're a success, because if you're not, you're going to look stupid. But make sure you're a success, and then go back and say, "Look, it worked out all right," and make amends with the parents. I always think you've got to follow your own thing. If you follow your parents' dreams, you're gonna be angry at them. In the end, you're gonna be pretty resentful as an older person, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree. If you can communicate it to them directly, like this is what's important to me. This is what I'm planning to do. I hope you guys can support it. Obviously you might not be able to count on their financial support, but as long as you have you have a plan. Maybe you got to grind up, you got to work a shit job for a year to grind up some savings.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes. That's what it takes.
I think that's good. Well, what do you think, David, the main problems are for young men at the moment? Because we've got this crisis of masculinity that people are talking about, where young guys are struggling to become men. What do you think really? What started that, and what are the main issues that guys are facing? How can we help them?
Let me share this out of my on my let me share this out of my community as well right now. So I put it on IG, but let me just make sure I'm doing this currently.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I'll go. I'll check the comments and see if we've got any. See if we've got any questions come through. We've got one guy, Brody Griffin. Any advice for smelly farts? I just can't stop.
Bro, it's something you're eating, bro. It's something you're eating.
People
I-
like your teeth. When did you get your teeth, David?
yeah. No, I mean, people always tend to comment on the teeth. um, I
You
got
get
them.
when
Got
did
them
you get your
about.
new teeth?
Yeah, no, I had a huge gap tooth, and I had back in Texas before we moved to Spain. There was a local like dental clinic, I guess you'd call it, who kind of collabed with me to I put veneers in. It closed the gap, but I also had some bad structural issues in terms of the back of my teeth. So they also fixed my bite as they were doing it, which has kind of improved my breathing and my sleep as well. But yeah,
Oh,
that was
that's good.
been about a year or so.
Oh, sick. Did you get that out to your tribe?
What's up?
Did you get your the link out to your tribe now
I did it. Yeah,
on the community? Did you get it out?
yeah, I just shared it on the community now.
Nice, nice.
Um,
Yeah.
so
What do you reckon is Yeah, you know the question.
the masculinity crisis.
Yeah.
I think there's so many different factors that come into play, right? Because I think people in general are more helpless than before because things are easier than before. So men and women, but then obviously it's more socially acceptable to be like really pro feminist, right? Like through Hollywood, through politics, through everything that you see, there's been an overreaction. It seems that I understand women want equal rights to men, but it seems there's been a bit of an overreaction, and obviously the people are more aware now, right? But for the last 10 years, perhaps there's been a lot of subliminal messaging that we should be a bit weaker, right? And the women should be a bit stronger. So I think that plays a role. I think in general, everyone feels a bit more helpless today. I think we're just kind of living like a culture where people don't take responsibility, men or women, right? And I think it's become, and I think that for the most part, a lot of these, not to like hate on everyone's parents, right? But a lot of times we become our parents unless we can identify, hey, like what's like something. What are the things I like about my father, and how can I incorporate that? He's hardworking. He ran his own business. He had a successful career. What are the things maybe I don't like as much? Maybe he's not. He doesn't know how to create boundaries with my mother, with people at his work, or whatever it is. I think a lot of it can start with looking at our parents, because otherwise I feel like we just subconsciously become our parents a lot of times, and sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes that can be a bad thing. But obviously if men as a whole are becoming a bit weaker, then that means fathers as a whole are becoming a bit weaker, and then sons. It's just going to keep happening unless we're like conscious.
Mm. Do you have any children, David? Have you got any children yet?
No, no. I did get married a couple months, 3 months ago, but no children yet, bro. No children yet.
Are you thinking about it?
Yeah, no, I do. I do plan to have children. Within the next few years, there'll be some baby beasts running around, but that is on the horizon. Not like tomorrow or next month, but it is on the horizon.
Nice. How would you raise a son compared to a daughter in this day and age to make a strong son?
It's funny because I've thought about what I would do with a son. I haven't, I guess, as much thought about what I'd do with a daughter. But I think if you are going to be a father, you also have to be prepared for the
You have
possibility.
you had to consider that. You do have to consider that. We
And,
always want the son,
having
but
you may have two sons and no daughters, and maybe that's not what we ideally want, but that could happen. But I mean, I think for a son, a lot of it's finding like from the thought thinking I've done is like you have to find like probably age appropriate ways to challenge them, right? So that they obviously you don't want them to have a life where they're in serious danger of anything, right? You want to provide for them and you want them to have a good life, but maybe I wish that I had faced a little bit more like social hardship early on. So thinking of ways, perhaps I think sports is probably the easiest. Like, and I'm glad I played sports, but I think sports is probably like the easiest. Um, any type of competitive sports, probably the easiest way to like start building mental toughness when they're younger. But maybe if you see they're struggling socially, you'd have to. And I don't know what that answer would be. Maybe it's just communicating with them, but finding ways for them to challenge themselves.
yeah, I've always thought. For some reason, I've been thinking about it. Like, I'm pretty young as well. I'm only 24, but recently it's crossed my mind. Like, I think if you start to make a little bit of money and you feel kind of like you've supported yourself, that you I don't know. In my mind, I started to think about children. That it would be kind of cool. It'd
So
be kind of cool to have
do you
some.
see yourself having children
I can
eventually?
see myself probably having children before 30. I'd say before 30 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
I
33.
reckon.
For me, it'll probably be when I'm 34. But it's
Yeah,
it's it's a tough question, man, because it requires giving up a large degree of freedom, right? And now all of a sudden that has to be a priority that's balanced with business and fitness and your girlfriend or your wife. But on the other hand, like I don't want to be an old man dad, right? I want to have kids. I don't want to be
mm.
an old man dad. So it's a tough balance.
I got a little bit of a crazy one on this. I was thinking in my head, I didn't think I'd have to give up too much freedom because I thought for me, like, I've been reading a lot of stuff and I kind of agree with it that you should maybe, that the child should not be sort of raised by their father, particularly apart from like on special occasions where you see your child, but maybe you spend a little bit more time away from it. It's certainly not changing any diapers or getting involved in that sort of thing. So in my situation, if I was going to have a family young, it would be set up so that I made sure my kids knew I loved them, and I made sure that I taught them what they need to know. But it was in allotted time frames that dad dips in and out, but they know that their dad loves them. So it wouldn't be like a full on thing for me. It wouldn't be sort of a matter of giving up freedom. If you could have it so that your life stayed the same, but you got kids growing on the side, is that something you'd think about?
I mean, I'm curious what that looks like exactly because while I don't plan to be changing diapers or it's being up in the middle of the
Mm,
we don't have to be in the middle of the night breastfeeding, right? Like that's not how our
yeah,
body works. I'm curious. I'm curious maybe what you mean exactly, right? Because I think I still want to be very present, and I know that if I've created a life, there's gonna be a level of anxiety that I think is a good anxiety to make sure like for the well being of the kid. Now that doesn't mean like just like watching them 24/7, but I think it will change my priorities on a daily basis, and I think I would want personally on a daily basis to be involved with the child. But that's a good question: is how do we structure the day now so that you can still wake up and manage any employees or business
yeah,
projects that are going on, so you still get to the gym, you still get a little bit of uh, downtime, right? But also be there be also just be part of the kid's life as he's growing up. That's so I'm curious
yeah.
how you think maybe that looks.
Well, for me, it looks like, and this is a little. to, and I haven't met into Western women because of the ideals around basically being a father, and a lot of the commitment you have to make when you're with sometimes a Western woman is more traditional. Like you have to stay at home as a dad, or there's a lot more of you being involved in the house. So for me, it would look like um, partners that are in countries like Thailand or parts of South America, where you can go there and you can have children with a person that you support, that you look after, but then you're still doing your own thing. So I'm planning to have like maybe a bit of an empire, a bit of a CEO of testosterone empire. So maybe have children with a couple of different ladies, couple of different women around the world, and then you support them, you look out for them, you see them at different times, but your children, that whole relationship, quite separate, so that they're growing up maybe whilst you're doing other stuff, building the business, making more money, providing a life for them, but you're not particularly right there. So for me, I think I'd maybe like to have children quite young, because the younger you have them, the quicker they've grown up, the quicker you can hang out with them, you can have a good time. And I think as you get older, that's what you want. You want children around you because they're your family, they're like your life and blood. But for me, the thing that's always put me off is like your life has to end when you have children. But for men of the past, powerful men of the past, kings and stuff, their life never had to end when they had children. They had as many children as they wanted. They just saw them occasionally. That's what they did. So for me, it's like I think children's a beautiful thing. The West makes it kind of hard to have those children because you've got all this. No guy wants to put his life on hold and not do any fun stuff anymore. So for me, I've been playing with the idea of like, oh, what if I did this maybe like a bit of a sort of like a king of old? What if I did it that way? So I've just been thinking about it. It's a bit of a crazy view, but
No,
I
no, no,
think
bro. I'm open minded to everything. That's not what I envision for. I guess what I want. I'd want to be. I wouldn't want to be traveling. Oh, I mean, yes, I would want to be traveling, but I wouldn't want to be. I would want the norm to be that my children are with me. However, I understand what you're saying, and so I did see a comment as you were talking, like, what's even the purpose of having children? And I do think a lot of people, a lot of guys, maybe are questioning that, right? And maybe it's because of what everything that comes along with that, right? Like I know for a lot of people, mm, perhaps the family you grew up in wasn't the happiest family, right? Like I think that's a very common scenario, and then it's like, what's the point of like creating the same environment that like I didn't enjoy being as a son? And I think that's fair. For me, the to answer that comment, the purpose of being a father, I think, is to I don't. I feel like there's some biological drive to also to want
mm,
to want to continue, not to continue your bloodline, but
yeah, I
to
think so. I think you're right.
to want to procreate and to have added someone else on ideally more than just one. You know, two or three new people onto this world who are good people
Yeah,
and who can have a positive impact on the world going forward. And it's obviously through YouTube and things we are hopefully able to have a positive impact on guys' lives. But it's not the same. It's not the same as raising someone from the ground up. You know, it's not the
yeah.
same thing.
Your own flesh and blood. Yeah, I think the point of having a family for me is like you can be, I think, a great father. And I don't know because I've not been a father, but I think you can be a great father without having to be there so much because you can be a hero. You can be like if your girlfriend or your wife tells the kids like your dad's amazing, he provides for us, this is what he does. You see your son, maybe you see him once a month, maybe you see him every couple of months, but you do the good stuff whilst you're there. I think a lot of the times maybe that gives the child a great role model to look up to. Like dad's out providing, dad's a hero, dad's like a superhero. And it's not any, you don't have any of that abandonment because you still love your kids, you're looking after them, you're just not seeing them so much. And I think that make you as a dad, it make you miss them and make you want to see them, make you want to see the wife as well, or the girlfriend, because you're not seeing them all the time. I think a lot of the major issues come from men being stuck in the house, wife and kids, crazy, and they're not missing their wife or their kids. But men always used to go away to war, and I think that raised a generation sometimes of men. If their dads came back, obviously, if they died, then that was an issue. But the dads came back, that raised an issue of that raised a generation of quite strong men because they saw their fathers as heroes. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have slightly different views, but at the end of the day, it's still being like a very strong role model for the kid. And obviously, if you're like a really like simpy dad, which a lot of people unfortunately find is fall into these situations, then what's the you can't be upset if your kid grows up being a simp as well, right? Because I think that's the path of least resistance there.
What do you think about like finding a Western woman that is, because you've got a wife now, so I'm guessing she's someone you love and you think's a great sort of high value woman, a woman that gives you what you need. How do you go about finding that in a world that to me in the West is pretty screwed up? Like a lot of the women there is pretty screwed up. How do you go about vetting and finding a decent woman in the West, going through dating, that sort of stuff? What do you look out for?
Yeah, I think that's I mean, it's a good question, and I do think that on average, people, and again, not just women, I think people are more toxic today than ever, and I think men and women both play into that. But if you're a man who's on the path of self improvement, you're striving to be better. Um, then the average people that you meet, which is gonna be men and women, but also the average women that you're dating, probably you can't like on average most people are probably not going to live up to the expectations that you have, right? So it's also having like realistic expectations. I've always been a fan of casually dating and allowing like a woman to prove you wrong, and what I mean by that is never having the expectation, because you don't know anything about a person from a date, or even at 3 months of dating, or even a year of dating. You start to learn more about them. I think the problem is when people just get the baby, like the big baby eyes, when the big puppy eyes, like a week in, like this girl's perfect, she's hot, she's pleasant to be around, and those are all good things. But it's like, does that hold up? Because I know the biggest indicator for divorce is people who get married less than a year. That's by far. There's other things as well, like people who are financially more well off tend to have lower rates of divorce as well. I think financial problems cause a lot of divorces, but the biggest one is the amount of time dating before you marry someone. So I think the simplest thing you can do is make the commitment that I'm going to date for 3 years before I propose to a girl. That's statistically the timeline that now you're in, like the safe place in terms of the statistics for divorce. But it also makes sense. It's like over 3 years now. Not have you only dated. You know if there's compatibility on a day to day level, sexual compatibility. You know if you guys share similar values for, like, do you even want to have kids? What would that look like? Where do you want to live? Do you want to have a life of freedom and travel? I think it's over 3 years, assuming you're honest with yourself, because there's a lot of people who probably wait 3 years and they're not actually happy in the relationship, and there's, well, it's been 3 years, like, let's do it. But that's obviously not the point. It's about having some being able to look in the mirror and be like, is this genuinely what I want for, like, the rest of my life? But some people aren't going to want to get married, and I think that's fine too. For me, it's something that I like the idea of, because I guess I like the idea of a traditional family, right? And part of that is marriage. It also makes it a bit easier with the government and taxes and things. But I suppose that's my outlook in terms of like considering if someone's marriage material. But it's time's the biggest test.
No, I feel you. I feel you. It's a strange one because for me in my head, like marriage really isn't something that I can't see the benefits for it. But just in terms of like the laws and how the West really kind of screws men for getting married if things go wrong in the future. Obviously, if you have the perfect marriage, if you choose the right woman, marriage is great. You can be in love with that woman and have children and a great family. But the way that I find the way men are treated in the West is worrying when it comes to the laws around marriage and the laws around like what you do. Just personal question here. You don't have to answer it, David. But when you got married, did you talk about prenup, or was that anything you talked about, like in terms of like
Yeah,
marriage paperwork and things like that?
these are things you need to plan for, because there's anything can happen in the world, right? It's some terrible tragedy could happen that could lead to divorce, and it doesn't mean it's going to be someone cheating on someone, right? Like, there's a million different things that can happen. I think
Yeah.
that's the discussion that needs to be had. Both people need to be on the same page. It's going to be, if something happens in the future, you want to at least have been prepared for that possibility, and know, like, what that kind of looks like, right? It's not about like expecting bad things to happen, but it's about just being prepared, and being on the same page as well, and being able to communicate this directly with the person that you may marry, because things can happen, things can change.
Got you, got you. There was a question that came up that looked quite interesting. It was about the kid situation. How do you stop a kid from being soft and too feminine when they just grow up with the mum? And what I wanted to say to that, I think what you do is when you find the right partner, you breed into them your your style. You're teaching what a man should be. I think for me, even now with my girlfriend, a large part of what we do because of our work on YouTube and I talk about this stuff and I want men to be the best they can be. We talk all the time about what makes a great man. And we talk about this all the time, like what makes an incredible man. And I'm always saying to her, like, oh, a man must be shaped through pain. A man must go through trials and tribulations. So you need a woman that is very much on the same idea that you are in terms of raising a child. Like a woman that will look after the child, but still understand that there's certain things it can and can't do. There's certain things, certain ways it needs to be raised. So I think you've got to have, even if you don't see the kid too much, it needs to be taught through your ideals of how a man's created.
That would
But
be,
I just wanted to answer that one.
yeah, that would be a tricky part though, because feminine energy is I mean, I assume you'd want to marry a feminine woman, and feminine energy is feminine energy and may not be able to set some hard boundaries. But again, structurally, like being part of sports teams, and then you have like a usually like a male coach and things like that can still provide like structure, I guess, masculine structure into the kid's life. But that's another reason that, at least for me, I'd want them to have a little bit more of that energy on a daily basis. But no, it's these are all it's all good things to think about, right? It's good to question because the world's changed so much, and you need to question these things.
100%. What do you think about Tate and everything that's going on with Tate? Because I don't know if you're a big Tate fan or you watch much Tate.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a song recently that I've been listening to. It's by Russ. It's called Put You On Game, and it's a great song, by the way. There's a lot of nuggets in there, but one of the lines is like, believe what you see. You'd be dumb to believe what you heard. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what actually has happened in his situation. I think I've been a fan of his content. I think that I don't agree with everything I don't agree with everything anyone says. Right. I think everyone needs to. I think there's a problem with people idolizing people. So that and that's not a problem I'd have with Tate. That'd be a problem I have with some people who put him on the most golden pedestal in the world, and everything he says is law. I think he preaches a lot of truth. I am a big fan. I think he's had a positive impact on men and the world, and I think it's a necessary voice, but there's things he says I don't 1000% agree with. That being said, with the current situation, I don't know, man. There's charges that are put against him. It seems like people would have a lot of reasons to maybe not falsify charges, but there'd be a lot of people who'd want him put away. So it makes me a little skeptical.
Mm,
But it's like I think at least in the United States, it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think that would I would I'd be curious to see if there's any actual, and I might not be fully up to date, so there may be something I'm missing here, but I'd be curious to see if there's any actual evidence here, if it's just some people who again called like the authorities on him or whatnot.
yeah, no,
What about
I feel you. I think Tate, I think it would be very strange for someone of his caliber to go so hard and so calculated on becoming famous and doing his business the way he's done it. I think it would be very strange for him to have been doing illegal activities that he's been accused of at that same time. I think that's pretty crazy, but it was surprising to me because when you hear people talk about the matrix and escaping the matrix, for me before I was kind of like, okay, it's just marketing. It's just them marketing. It's like us versus them. It makes sense. I like it. It's smart. But then this happened where he's been arrested for maybe something he didn't do, and that kind of scares me a little bit. To like, man, they're really going after him. They're really not stopping. Does that worry you at all on your channel? You ever had any strikes or anything like that, or do you steer well clear of
no?
controversy?
I've done videos that have been like I don't I've done videos that have been age restricted, that have been demonetized, and there was one recent one that was talking about kind of the same type of ideas that it didn't really make sense. Like what the reason it was like age restricted didn't match up with the video. I think it was more that I was talking on these types of things. But no, it does worry me. But I mean, that's more. I guess censorship in general worries me because a lot of times there's things in videos I want to say, and then you have to stop and think on a platform like YouTube. Unfortunately, you have to think, okay, do I have to like kind of rephrase how I would have said this? It's not that I'm not going to say it, but do I maybe have to rephrase it just because channels that could be considered in that same sphere as Tate could perhaps be
Yeah.
targeted. You know? So it's not ideal. I think it's silly. I'm against censorship 100%, especially when it's against just people speaking their opinions, right? Where no one's saying to go do violence on someone or something like that. That's not
Mm.
what we're talking about. Um, yeah, no, I think that's scary. And then I know there's Rumble now, right? Like that started. That's a thing. You could go upload videos
Yeah.
there, but bro. Like there's millions and billions of watch time and hours of people's eyes are on YouTube. So that's like where I want to make the content for. So it's
Yeah.
a tricky situation as a creator as well.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I've got both at the moment, but the Rumble, it never performs, like doesn't perform that well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Maybe one will overtake the other. But I got my first strike the other day on YouTube. Before you get a warning, before you get a strike, you get a warning. Got my first warning.
What was the what
For
was, what was it for?
It was for a video how to last longer in bed. Um, Tips for lasting longer in bed, which I thought we need to help the boys out. So I've gone and done that, and then it's gotten striked and taken down.
Bro,
Um,
I used to be able to make videos 2 years ago. I could put out videos that were a lot more explicit, not in a bad way, but more explicit and descriptive in terms of like how to last longer and better, something like that.
yeah,
And now there's not the same freedom there was 2 years ago on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't think.
and I don't understand why can you not make a video talking about that? I wasn't showing that. It
Yeah,
wasn't. We weren't showing any demonstrations. It wasn't a porn video. It was just a talking video. So it's like, why can we not do that when girls can? They can get pretty much half naked. They can get pretty much
yeah,
naked and be all over the screen. Like that's allowed. These music videos I'm seeing, but that's all allowed. Why is
yeah.
that?
It's funny because even Instagram, I think Instagram lets more things go than YouTube. Actually, I think,
I agree. I agree.
but it's tough. It's tough because there's not a clear boundary, right? They have. I know YouTube has their guidelines. And you can look at them and they do give examples, but I think it does. They do by human review or by automatic review, and I think sometimes if it's by human review, it's going to depend who's the human.
Mm. No, I agree. It seems that they seem to blame it on an algorithm at the moment, is what I've seen. Like, oh, it's the algorithm's done it. And so it's like takes blame away from there. No, the algorithms just took it down. So lost you.
No, you
There
got
we
me.
go.
You got me.
We're
Can you hear?
back
I can hear you.
online. We're back online.
Okay.
There we
Let me
go.
know if the wind.
I
Let
just
me know
had.
if the audio gets bad. By the way, and I'll go back inside.
It's all good, man. It looks beautiful where you are as well. It looks proper nice. It's like a
Yeah,
decent place.
it's quite a view.
That is dope. Do you read many books, David? Are you much of a reader?
I used to read a lot of books. Honestly, the last couple of years, I haven't. I don't think I've read a single book the last 2 years. And my reasoning would be that I guess it's just not something I prioritized because in the past it was just YouTube, and YouTube is my baby, and the only thing I'm thinking about is the next YouTube video, and that's all I care about. And when I was in that mindset, I had a little bit more free time. But now we have several businesses that require daily management, and I think that there's a lot of other important daily habits that I've stuck in with, but reading is one that I've that I've had to give up. But in the past, especially when I was early on when I was early on my self improvement journey, I was like a sponge. I was reading hours a day.
And have you got any that you think were proper books that changed things for you? Like your number one or your top three of books?
Yeah, yeah. I have a list here on mine. Let me pull it up because I have it on my. Where is it at? It's on my old website or howtobeast.com. Okay. So okay, the first one I would say would be A Guide to the Good Life. This is the book that introduced Stoicism to me. It kind of takes like meditations from Marcus Aurelius. I got Marcus right here on the top of my arm. Also, I know you can see him,
Nice.
but
I'm big into that.
yeah, it takes that like the original source material and kind of makes it a little bit more applicable to the world we live in today. More and more relevant. So that one was for me, that was one of the biggest books that had a huge impact on how I think. For the second one, I'll say The 50th Law. It's a Robert Greene book. He's one of 48 Laws of Power. He did The 50th Law
Yeah.
when he wrote with 50 Cent, actually. And I thought that was a very,
Nice.
I really enjoyed.
Collab. Big collab.
Yeah, that's a great.
Big collab, Robert Greene, 50 Cent.
There's some.
What's that one about? What's that book about? I never even heard of that book.
So it's kind of adding two additional laws. I think one of them was like hustle your ass off, and the other one's become fearless. And it tells it through stories of 50 Cent's life and stories of like critical points in his career, that he implemented those. But I think those were more his like two personal laws. But Robert Greene wanted to add them on as a couple additions to the main book.
Nice, nice. And how do you find Stoicism? How's that helped you? And for someone who doesn't know what it is, like, how does Stoicism help a young man?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would go read either Meditation of Marcus Aurelius, A Guide to the Good Life, or what's his name?
Seneca's book is
Yeah,
very good.
or The Obstacle is the Way is a good one by Ryan Holiday as well. But the main there's a lot of different principles. The main principle for me is like really narrowing your focus to like what do I have control over, right? Because if I let's say the stock market crashes tomorrow 20%, and you lose, I don't know, half a million net worth or something, right? And it's like
Yeah.
that sucks. But like I can always bring my mind back to like, okay, but what do I actually like have control over here? And maybe it's a lesson to do something differently next time. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just okay. That's not something I have control over. Let's focus on how do I make that much more money this year. That's
Mm.
a lesson for me, because a lot of times we get caught up on like, oh, why isn't this girl text me back? It's like, well, bro, you have no fucking control over this. Like, who cares? Or like, or I didn't get I didn't get the job that I interviewed for. It's like, all right, well, that's you don't have control over that. So it's for me, it's a lot of just always reminding myself, all right, like, why am I worried about anything else other than like what can we actually focus on right here that actually matters?
Yeah, I try to control a lot less these days. Like before, I was always like, I need this, or I'm going to go after that, and I was always fighting to like I want to get that sort of thing. But now I just want to I want to see what's brought to me, because so far in my life, things have been brought to me at the right times. That anything good to me has come to me at the right time when I was ready for it. Whereas before, if things had come to me that were good, I would have ruined them. So now, if something doesn't go my way, rather than think it was bad or think that I lost or I failed, I just think, all right, I wasn't ready for it. I need to do more. I need to improve more. I wasn't ready for that opportunity yet, because I would have ruined it. So I take it very gratefully now. It makes me. I think you've got to be careful. You don't hold back too much, and you don't be too chilled and relax about it. Like things are going to come to you. Do whatever you can. Do
Yeah,
what's like. Do
a
the
good
do the
question.
best you can.
There's a good question that when something really terrible happens to you, ask yourself, how is this the best thing that's ever happened to me? And it's a hard one to implement, but for example, last year I experienced a bit of dip in my YouTube views, and if up until then it was boom, 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 year after year, up, up, only up, and it was very hard for me to mentally cope with it a little bit. To like, wait, not only we plateaued, we actually kind of pulled back a little bit. But then I had to come into this mindset: how is this the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? And you have to find ways to reframe it. Okay, well, this is a crucial time. We need to restructure the businesses so we're not only reliant on new YouTube viewers being new customers. How do we now build out a good paid advertising strategy that can build the brand without me? Okay, oh, okay, the short form content. Maybe I don't like the idea of it. Maybe it seems kind of stupid, but let's embrace this. And I don't know what that's going to lead to down the line. But I like you said, I'm being consistent.
Mm,
That perhaps that leads to something greater than what I'm giving up. So I think it's hard to think this way. But when you're in a really bad situation, you just got through a breakup, you just lost a bunch of money. If you ask yourself, like, how is this the best thing that ever happened to me? It can help you. It can help you become part of like your hero story, right? Like I'm about to make a fucking comeback.
mm. I think that's important. The bigger the setback, the bigger the comeback. I say this to guys all the time. They're at the lowest point in their life. They're in a big rut. They can't get out of it. And I'm like, boy, you've got your story now. You don't know how valuable your story is. Without the story, you've got nothing. For me, if I hadn't had the bad times, if I hadn't had the bad things that happened to me, I'd be such a boring person. I just like, oh yeah, just success, success, success. Like that doesn't happen to anyone, and you don't want it that way. You got to have the low periods, those points where you're fucking desperate, like you're really hurting, because that's what gives you that overwhelming joy when you actually get something you want, when you actually get what you want. It's crazy.
That's life, man. Life is pleasure and pain, right? It's both. It's both. It is, and it's always that.
Yeah.
Even when you feel you finally got confidence with girls, you finally got over those addictions, you finally start getting some money. you're gonna get smacked in the face. You know, we get smacked in the face several times a year, and it can be really bad sometimes. And that's life, though, right? Like that's life.
Yeah, I think the stoicism's big for that. It's just such a great thing I've recently come across that's massively helped me. Boys, if you don't know stoicism or you've not read anything on stoicism, just go read some books on that because it's helped me mentally a lot. The stoicism, staying calm in situations, things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a big one.
No, I agree. That's the biggest impact on my mindset for sure. The biggest impact.
How did you start building a business off the back of YouTube? How did you get into the business side of YouTube? How do you monetize that channel? Because I think people want to know if they're doing YouTube, they want to make money from it. And from what I've seen, you make a good amount of money from YouTube. You do like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like $80,000 profit a month or something like that.
From YouTube ad revenue?
No, from your businesses as a whole that sort of are grown off the back of YouTube.
Yeah, so well, that's one thing I think if people are getting into YouTube, they should know that the ad revenue alone, unless you're putting out 5 videos a week getting, 500,000 views, I mean, don't get me wrong, you might make 100K a year, couple 100K a year, but you're not going to be making an insane amount of money just from YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah.
So it's about different streams of income. For me, we have, let's see, we have Edge Lifestyle Clothing brand. That does the most revenue each year. It's not the most profitable. There's a lot of costs with that. We have the Beastly Fitness app. That's subscription based. That's does amazing with profit because I've paid a development team, probably 100K over the last couple of years to build that out. But it's at this point, it's profit each month. We have the new supplement brand Gains Club. Honestly, that's maybe just about broke even now. We put a lot into the beginning of that brand, and now this year it's about scaling it, finding the right products that we can scale, finding the right strategy. With like the clothing brand, for example, we found that our joggers are just like they're world class joggers. When we sell someone on joggers, they come back within I forget what the exact numbers are, but within 30 days they've come back and spent an additional $100 or something, and they work very profitable for ads as well. So we need to find like what's our secret sauce with the supplement brands, and then we also have a dating coaching program. It's like a group coaching program. Now that's not like a huge earner, but that's more like a way to connect with like the guys who are really serious about turning their dating life around and build confidence. That's not on the same scale as the other businesses. And then there's obviously YouTube and sponsorships and stuff. So
Got ya.
for me, it's been about not having like overnight success or anything, but if each year I can build up these a little bit more year over year, regardless of YouTube traffic and things. Like I think we got 50% less YouTube traffic to Edge last year, but the brand still grew, and that's like the best sign for me now. Is it's decoupling a little bit from my organic following.
Nice. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, yeah. Obviously, as a creator, you don't want to be. I love creating, and I'm not planning on stopping.
Yeah.
I don't want to be tied to a chain creating the rest of your life either. So I think it's about. Yeah, go ahead.
You've been creating since 2017, like pretty full on. What do you do for your ideas? How do you keep those ideas flowing? How do you keep making content at that rate?
I mean, I'd be lying if
Do
I
you
said
ever get stuck?
it's gotten harder. Like once it was now. I don't even know how many videos I have on my channel now. I should be able to, if I click here, I should say, right? It shows somewhere how many videos we have. Sorry.
Yeah, it will tell you. It will tell you.
Tell me somewhere here, but there's got to be at least 1,000 videos on here. No, 30 per 8, 1 to 30. That can't be right. 50, 1 to 50. I'm not sure how you. There's got to be an easy statistic to see that, isn't there?
I just see it when I go on my phone. Normally, it's on my phone. When I go to my YouTube channel, my own channel, I just look at the top of my YouTube channel. It says like however many videos, just on your own channel.
I'm curious, but I don't think I'm gonna.
It's not in the studio though. It's not in the studio. It's just on a normal bit.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there's
720. Someone in the comments put it in. You got 720.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, no, it's been a lot, but it definitely does get more difficult. I mean, I think that when I first started, again, it was all like advice videos. It was all how to build muscle, how to be more confident, 3 ways to approach a girl. So I think that as time goes on, if you're gonna there's different paths you can take, right? Because there's someone like a Jesse James West who just dominates the YouTube game, just washes the floor with everybody. Yeah, like his channel has gotten to another level. And I'm talking about people who come from maybe a more like fitness or self improvement background.
Yeah.
But he's taken on a more approach of like viral content. I don't know what just
Yeah.
I I went and
Absolutely.
yeah, I did arm wrestling with Thor for $1 million. Something I don't know, like these crazy videos, right? But and they're awesome. They're really well done. So that's one route to take. It's more like the viral route. The other route is for the route that I took was more taking the advice videos, but then also like I made it a little bit more about my own journey as well because I realized I'm gonna run out of if every video is 3 tips for this or how to do this, either I just have to recycle the same content or
Mm.
I'm gonna run out of ideas, right? And over time, like the world changes, we're in a little bit more of like this masculinity crisis era now, and that lends itself to new content. So every few years, the type of content and people's focus will change. But for me, also weaving in like my progress with first it was with women in the gym. Now it's a bit more with like businesses and my like my now wife, right? And like the progression of my life. I think that can it can allow you to demonstrate that you practice what you preach and maybe lead by example
Mm.
rather because there's a lot of people who can just preach at the camera for 10 minutes and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That can be very motivating, empowering. They could be people who are 100% practicing what they preach, but I think if you can also show it, it can be powerful. So I think that being able to weave in storylines in my life with the advice that I give out, and then also updating my advice, talking about the failures I face along the way, that's been my strategy.
And do you do any like biohacking on a day to day? Is there anything you use in your life right now to like make things easier, get you in a flow state, get you doing your work, or you're fairly simple in that regard?
I'm pretty simple in the sense that I'll wake up and either I have a content day where I'm gonna film a YouTube video, I'm gonna film a handful of shorts or like add content for the businesses, or it's gonna be like a laptop grinds day where maybe I'm editing a little bit. I'm also catching up on emails. If I gotta talk to some employees or some of the agencies we work with, I'm doing all those calls on those days. The only real biohacking I would say I do would be like a cold shower, or now that we're by the ocean here and it's cold Mediterranean water, like hopping in the ocean, going down. We had 2 dogs too, gotta go down to the beach, hopping in the cold water. And for me that
Nice.
and like today I didn't have time to do that. And how I felt the first 5 hours of the day today versus tomorrow if I go and jump in the ocean, it's completely different. I think that like cold exposure therapy now has a lot of research behind it too. It releases dopamine. I think it wakes me up without needing any caffeine. To me, it's a simple one, but it's the only one I've stuck to since the last 7 years. I've meditated, I've read, cold exposure, cold showers, or like a plunge. That's the only thing I've stuck it with.
Nice. Yeah, I think they're good. I think they're good. How do you find it now you're married? Do you keep brothers around you? You keep your bros around you? Manage to hang out with guys, or how do you find that now? Have you got a group of guys around you? Because everyone is looking, I think, for brotherhood in that. A lot of young guys want that, and certainly I think it's very good as well. I think you grow a lot with your brothers around you. Do you manage to do that still, but now that you're married?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say anything's changed from before the marriage to after the marriage in terms of that. I Most of my close friends, they're kind of dispersed around the world a little bit, and I do have, and I'd say most of my close friends are also people who I respect, who are building, who are grinding, building something, who I can to relate to
Got
on
you.
people. And it's tough because if your guy is trying to level up your life, at first it's gonna be a little empty because chances are, like for me, my social circle that I just had when I decided I want to start improving my life, you can't expect them to share those same interests with you. You can't expect them to relate. I remember I was all excited about starting my YouTube channel, and like the roommates I was living with was like, "Oh, really? Like you're doing YouTube?" And at first it's gonna be like energy vampires almost when you're getting started. But I think you need to just because you don't need a big circle of friends either, and along your journey, and it's gonna help if you go somewhere like Thailand, where I'm sure there's other like expats or digital nomads, whatever you want to call them.
There's a load of other
Yeah, yeah,
other gorillas out there. We just call them gorillas in
yeah. So
our end.
that's one way to meet them. But also, if you're just like really focused grinding, you can still like through listening to podcasts or YouTube, you can still kind of surround yourself with that's what I did at first. Was honestly a lot just through watching videos, listening to podcasts. That's where I got a lot of that masculine energy. But I think the key thing is when you like connect with another guy and you guys are in a similar part of your journey, like hold those connections dear to you, even if they don't live in the same state or country as you. Like, make effort a couple times a year to meet up with those people. You know, do calls with them when you're in a tough spot. When they're in a tough spot, stay in contact. Luckily, through technology, we don't need to necessarily live next to these people. But yeah, I have a
Yeah.
network. Not there's very few people I have really close in Spain. I'll be honest, but through the U.S., I mean mainly here in the U.S. at this point, I do have a network of people.
I think it's a. I agree with you. I think in your pocket, you can connect with a lot of people. For me, a huge thing changed for me when my life started changing from being someone who was not performing well, who was probably not an example of someone you would want to really be like. I was misbehaving a bit. I was going out, drinking, partying. I wasn't doing particularly well. A large thing that changed for me is I joined an online group and I started just FaceTime calling different people. I started not hanging around so much with the same people, and I just started FaceTime calling people that were already doing well in business, like halfway across the world, which is an awesome thing to be able to do now if you're not doing it already. Because speaking to those guys, I found another big one for me. Part of the reason I got on YouTube is because I met a guy called Hamza, who you might have heard of.
Yep,
You
I
heard of Hamza?
never met,
Yeah,
but he's great content.
yeah, Hamza. So I met Hamza in Thailand, and when you can see someone who's doing it, like let's say somebody meets you, a younger guy meets you, and they can see like you kind of got the life, you're doing what you want, and they can see you do it. For me, it was like, I've got no excuse now. I've got no excuse not to go out there and do it. Whereas before, I was like, yeah, people don't really make this much money online and all that sort
It's
of stuff.
just some guy on YouTube, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a YouTube thing. It's all fake. Nobody really making money from it. And then if you see it in real life,
No, this is a good point,
it's
bro.
big.
Honestly, so I started my YouTube in Boston, and there was like nobody doing YouTube. And Boston's very much traditional. People are doctors, lawyers, uh, teachers, and I started the channel, and I probably built the first 100K or so in Boston. But I started to feel like I was on like an island. Um, and then I moved to Texas. I moved to Austin, and there's a few YouTubers in Austin, but there's a lot in Houston. There's like this. I don't know if you know about like Alpha Lee Jim, and then I became friends with.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's when I met Max Tuning, Christian Guzman, some of these other guys there, and they were ahead of where I was for sure. And seeing them in person, I think you're right. I think something powerful happened that I said, like, "Fuck this! I can get on this level." And I do think
Mm.
seeing it in person can help. I agree with you. I don't know that I've thought that much about that, but I think you're right.
Yeah, I think to anyone, like it's very very apparent to me now that when you surround yourselves with guys that are doing big things, you automatically up your standard, and it's easier. It's far easier to do good work when everyone in your house is like that's the standard. If the living standard in your house full of bros is that you guys get up every morning, you go gym, and you're the one guy being lazy staying in that room, that's just a force that gets you out of bed. But it's also very hard on the opposite. If you find yourself in a situation right now where you're living in a house and every guy's staying in bed till games, you're going to find it a lot harder to not become that guy.
No,
So I think that's a major
yeah,
hack.
no, you're right. It's the measuring stick. I think for me, when I first just started reading books and going to the gym, just based on the people I was around, I felt like I was the fucking winner, man. And I was just going to the gym for an hour a day. I wasn't doing shit, but like it made me feel like
Yeah, yeah.
that's the opposite. That's the danger, right? Is that you think you're crushing it because you're doing like this baseline level of like being healthy, and now all of a sudden you think you're on top of the world. That's the time where you need to probably find some people who are at least one step ahead, just to be like, wait,
I, I
I got a long way to go.
I think that's one of the reasons. I think that's one of the reasons why. Well, I've just come to Dubai. Maybe I'm a little bit uncomfortable in Dubai. Is because you're surrounded by this enormous wealth. You come from Thailand. You're doing all right on YouTube. You're doing all right with your businesses. You feel all right, and then you come here.
Now everyone's driving Lambos. Yeah.
Exactly, but I think that's good because you speed up your growth. You speed up your growth massively. It's like that pursuit of comfort. It's like if you get out of that comfort zone, it's always going to help you grow faster. Did you? I've got a note here. I wanted to ask you a question. Have you been
I'm
on
on
TRT
TRT now.
before?
Yeah, yeah, I'm on TRT now. So I did a whole series of videos over like the first two, because it's been maybe what 3 years since I've been on it. The first 2 years I did video like every 3 months, like checking in, updating, talking about side effects, changing my dose. I haven't done as many. I'm due up to do another one soon, but I haven't. At some point, it's like still going, guys. Like still same thing, guys. But But I know I'm curious. What is it something you've considered? You or like what's your? Do you have any questions about it?
And I became CEO of testosterone, and my business on the back of it is natural testosterone boosting. Because when I had low testosterone, coming out of a 9 to 5, was out of shape, had been in a relationship, sort of working indoors, wasn't getting the right amount of sunlight. A lot of I think the stuff online points straight to TRT, and it's very kind of like an easy, quick fix for a young man. But then I decided, one, I didn't have the money for TRT, so it was not really an option. And two, I was 21, so I've heard things about you're not able to produce the testosterone naturally if you jump on TRT. You'll struggle to produce it naturally again. So I went all into boosting it naturally and managed to boost my testosterone naturally. And that's what my program, my groups are about. It's like taking hold of that masculinity by just having the ingredients that you need. Is my major thing. So, what's your sort of experience been with TRT? Is there any part of you that regrets taking it at 30 rather than maybe waiting a little bit longer? And why did you take it? Why did you start taking it?
Yeah, no, good question. So the reason I started taking it was, well, there's a few reasons. So one, I started training seriously at like 22. So at 30, I was like, I'm basically at my like natural limit. I'm curious if I do, doctor monitored TRT, like what's that? Do we make it? Do we make any additional gains? Does like the gym become more a little more like fun again? And maybe that's a dangerous mindset to get into. That would be a fair point, I think. But also, as I got in my late 20s and as I reached 30, I noticed more fatigue. I noticed more, and I think this is just natural aging, right? This is kind of like this is also just like what happened, especially because as I was getting into my later 20s, my life was getting more hectic because the YouTube channel started to grow. I started the first business. I started the second business. So I think I was also struggling a little bit with sleep and recovery. And then I went in and got a test done. And I made the mistake of going to like one of these local clinics. And you're referring to it. It's very easy now. If you're in most countries, you can just go somewhere and basically get started,
Mm,
which I don't think is a good thing. And they did a blood panel, but they only tested my total testosterone, which doesn't really tell you anything. You need a lot of different blood markers, and you should probably get several tests done as well because you could have one bad night of sleep and it could be a very bad result. And
yeah,
I didn't have like abysmal TRT, but I mean testosterone, but it was low. It was low. I don't remember the exact number anymore now, but it was low for my age range, and based on that, they basically offered to no. They started me on Clomid, which is it's really a fertility drug that shouldn't be prescribed, but it has a if you take it as a man, it does increase your testosterone a lot. But what it also does is it increases your SHBG and your estrogen a lot. So the SHBG binds to the testosterone, and it's essentially my total testosterone went up. My free testosterone probably went down, and I did this for 3 months, and this was awful. It was this is something men should be very careful about because some of these local clinics may advise the same thing because it gives you a
yeah,
result.
yeah,
You see the blood marker go up, but I felt worse, and then because of that, I was like, all right, well, let's start TRT then, and obviously that got my SHBG back down in the range, and I mean I felt amazing, right? When you first start taking TRT, you feel like you're gonna feel amazing. Um, but that was kind of the story of how I got started, and then since then it's been more like optimized. My dose is a lot lower now than when I started, because I'm at this point, and my plan is just to stay on it forever, and I don't want it to affect my my longevity. So sure, my
got
levels
you.
are a bit higher than if I wasn't taking test at all. But I don't take any estrogen blockers or anything else. I take a low okay low dose. People will argue what the range is, right? For low dose versus where I started. So 200 was the is what used to be considered like 200 milligrams a week is like what they would normally consider TRT, but that's very high. It's very high. It puts a lot of people in a very high range. That's what I started at, and then I titrated all the way down to 100 milligrams, and then my free test was a bit low. So now I'm sitting at like 130 milligrams a week ish. But I mean, the benefits are definitely like there's and I will also say that before I did this, I was doing all of the standard, natural boosting protocol in terms of focusing on sleep, focusing on nutrients, even supplementing with things like boron and zinc, magnesium.
Mm,
Um, I was doing all these things for even a couple of years before I made that decision. But I think that for most guys, it's not needed. I wouldn't. I always caution. I always talk a lot about the negative side effects in my videos, and maybe it seems hypocritical, but my point is, I take responsibility. This is the decision I've chosen to make. I believe that I'm doing it in a healthy way based on the blood work and taking my blood pressure very frequently and like monitoring everything. In fact, I think I'm probably healthier now than before because it's forcing me to do all this blood work and all these other things. But I don't think that it was needed. I don't think that for most people there's much reason to do it. I think that if you just focus on naturally optimizing things, you'll be able to build a body that's plenty attractive to women. You can be plenty proud of. And I think for a lot of people, and you're someone who struggle with addiction, so I haven't, but it can be an intrigue, a gateway drug to taking more and more anabolic compounds and things. So luckily I've had the self control. It doesn't even interest me. The same way I got the sleeve tattoo, and everyone's like, "What are you doing next?" I'm like, well, I just wanted a sleeve tattoo. Now I'm not going to get anything else done. But that's a long-winded answer, but hopefully gives you some insight into some of the thought process.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Thank you. I was going to go for a couple of questions, just see what the chat's saying, and see if we can answer up a few questions.
Yeah, let me pull in.
If anyone wants to pop some in,
How long do you
we'll
sleep?
do some questions.
How long do you sleep every night? The first one I see.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm absolutely trying to do 8 hours minimum at the moment. That is mega important for me. Sometimes I don't get it, but for me, I'm trying to go to sleep early, wake up early. I think it's better. You'll end up healthier. You end up richer. That's what I'm trying to do. I like the mornings, and I'm trying to get those 8 hours. I think they're good.
I would agree 8 hours. And I think it's all for me. If you're someone who struggles with sleeping, for me, I realized that it's just about having like blackout blinds. It's such a simple thing, but if there's any speck of sunlight, doesn't matter if I slept 3 hours, I'm awake and I'm going to start the
Big.
day. I'm going to feel like shit, but I'm going to start the day. So I think having blackout blinds is key. And if I have a bad night of sleep, even though I'm all about like starting and grinding early in the morning, if I have a really rough night of sleep, I'll wake up and I'll sleep an extra hour because I know that I'll feel that much better throughout the day than if I just like force
I
myself.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Just you take over for a second, Dave. I'm going to go to the toilet. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
All
You
right,
take over with the questions.
yeah, I'm taking a look. Yeah. Do you guys train when sick? I guess it would depend, right? Me, if it's just like my nose is stuffy, then I'm not gonna. I'll still go to the gym. But if I'm like seriously sick, I have a fever or like I'm coughing, I'm not gonna train on those days. Taking a few rest days. I actually train 4 days a week now. I used to train 6 days a week, and now I only train 4 and actually feel a lot better. How do you escape the 9 to 5 crap at the age of 19? So it's there's a lot of. I started with a 9 to 5 because I started as a software engineer working at a typical job, and I worked it for a year. And for me, it was good in terms of like because I had a salary in terms of grinding up a lot of money. That after that, when I quit and then got into personal training and then YouTube eventually, that it gave me like a padding. But at the end of the day, there's a million different ways you can make money, and if you're only 19 now, it's more. I'd already start trying to learn skills in terms of online marketing skills. It could be paid advertising, copywriting. Like, already start building different skills because not only is that a way to find some clients now and to start making some money, but eventually, if you want to start a business, like I've in the past, I did copywriting, I did social media marketing, I did advertising. Like it helps to just learn a bunch of random skills because then when you're starting your own business, you also will have a lot of random experience that allows you to more quickly hit the ground running. I just finished answering a couple.
Nice. I'm back. I'm back in business. How can I stop being scared of the camera? Did you answer that one yet?
No, you just got to start filming, bro. If go back, I would say go back and watch a few of my videos. Just go short from like the oldest videos, and I was very awkward on camera for probably 2 years. Maybe some people it comes naturally to. I'm curious. I'm curious about you. For me, it did not come naturally even a little bit. It took 2 videos a week for about 2 years before I felt comfortable. And also, I forced myself to film in public. I'd start just by going on like the sidewalk, where maybe there was just like a guy on the other side of the road, and then I'd go and bring it in and film in a restaurant, right? And then I'd go film in a crowded plaza or something. Because if you can be comfortable filming and like staying focused on the camera and controlling your voice and staying focused with a lot of people around, then like doing more basic things like this feel like nothing.
Yeah, no, I seen you on. I seen a few of your videos, and I thought you're very good, very animated, very open in public, which is something that's still. I'm not too bad at it, but I've got to have my boys around me. If I don't have my boys around me, and I'm just on my own doing a vlog, I feel a little bit weird. I feel a little bit off. But I think the same as you. Just get started. That first video, and just don't stop. Make one every single day. That's what I did. I just started making videos every day. You soon learn. And I think the biggest thing to remember, and I remind myself of it all the time, is that we're all going to die one day. It's not going to be that long, and nobody's going to remember. So if it's what you think you should do, just don't have any regrets and just start making those videos. The guy's only 13 though, 13 years old. So just start making them now. You'll be a pro by 20 years old. If you make a
Like,
video a day, you'll be a
You'll put
pro.
you'll put us to shame, man. If you're starting at 13, we're gonna look all we're probably look real
You're
awkward.
way ahead of the game. You're way ahead of the game. I mean, I was not watching any of this stuff. I wasn't doing any of this at 13. I was just picking worms out of the ground, I'm pretty sure, at 13 years old. I was just eating bugs and stuff.
I mean, bro,
So you're way ahead of the game.
I started YouTube when I was 27, and like that a lot of people like I feel like I started at like a pretty old age, and it still didn't matter. There's a lot of guys I think fall into a
Well,
trap like too late for me. It's too late for me. Um,
well,
but
that's a lot of story there. That's a lot of story. Up to 27 years old, like, what's the story there? What was life like there? Was life all right in that time before 27 and the YouTube and stuff? Because I'm only 24 now, so I'm thinking
yeah,
like uh, that's not even. I'm not even 27 yet.
yeah, well, yeah, it was. I guess I started doing like the writing the blog probably when I was about your age. So really, like the path had started, even if YouTube hadn't started, the path had started probably
Got
around.
ya.
But yeah.
So what's this one? CEO testosterone. Best places to stay in HS. Not sure where HS is. You
I think
might mean K. It might mean KS, which is Koh Samui. That's where I live. If you're going to Koh Samui, it's a very
uh,
small island, so you can't mess it up too much. You're not going to be able to mess it up that much because you're going to be able to get everywhere. But most people are based in a place called Chaweng. Oh no, high school. He means high school. Best places to stay after high school. I don't know, man. I don't know what country you're from. Probably America because you said high school.
in terms of social life, cost of living, etc. I mean, again, I stayed at my parents' place when I had my first job for 3 to 6 months to build up a few months of rent, and then I moved out as soon as I could because we've been talking about parents a lot in this podcast. But I feel like if you're under your parents' arm, you're never really going to start to develop. Whether that means going to Thailand or whether this means just moving to the nearest city and getting an apartment or a flat. That's one actual that's one actual life hack I think that makes a big difference is just like not living at your parents' place. Hey Max, how's it going?
I think it makes a big. I think it makes such a huge difference for the relationship between you and your parents as well. Like me and my parents, when I was 18 years old and I moved out, my dad will say, and my mum will say, I was not a good kid. We were not getting on at this point. And then you move away, and for a long time, I was like, I'm not going back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to speak to him. You just have this like teenage angst, this energy. But then you leave it a little while, and you kind of miss your parents, and then you become independent on your own. You can look out for your parents. It's a beautiful thing, I think, to move away and just do things for yourself. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, and I would say that I think a lot of times when you spend less time around people, the time you spend with them becomes a bit more quality time as well. I notice that now when I see my parents, it's not just like I'm at their place and like maybe I eat dinner with them. It's like I'm actually spending time with them.
One come in from a guy called Charlie, I think. He's saying he's still 19, he's living at home. He's got no job, his life's hit an all-time low, he's super confused. What should he do at
Small
19 years
steps,
old?
small steps. You know, life's a long life, man. 19's young. If you just improve a little bit, you improve your situation a little bit over each month. In a couple of years, you might not recognize yourself, not in a bad way. Start by you need to start by saving up some money. Maybe that means you just get a very basic job, waiting tables or something, and then from there, but I'd recommend trying to learn a skill that could you could get paid a little bit more than just like working at a restaurant.
Mm,
So there's online courses that can teach you coding languages or that can teach you social media marketing. Like there's ways to. I would focus on trying to learn a skill, and this doesn't mean this is the skill you have to learn for the rest of your life. Because a lot of times I think we get paralyzed, thinking that
yeah,
whatever we is going to be the thing forever. But I've been a software engineer. I've been a personal trainer. I've tried podcasting. Like I've had a lot of different careers, and a lot of times it doesn't matter. Maybe it's just a few years and you learn a few lessons there and then you move on.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would say go out and get a job, because even if it's a small thing, take some pride in it. Even if it's delivering pizzas, just take some pride in it. Be the best at it. Make a little bit of money, and have that one thing you wake up for. Because if you've got no job, then you're going to feel like you're sort of wasting away a little bit. And on the side, start learning a skill. Like start learning a good skill on the side, but at the same time, go out, work hard every day. Like go out and do some stuff. You're not going to be there forever. You're 19 years old. It's fucking, you got a long time in the game. So as long as you're making those small improvements, you'll be all right.
Commit to a daily routine. Work the shitty job, make a little bit of cash, come back, focus on learning some skill online, hit the gym, get 8 hours of sleep. 'Cause if you like wake up each day and have something to live for, even if it's basic things like that, it's gonna make a big difference in your mindset. Um,
Yeah.
some of that.
How do we network with people on our level? I would say a big one for this is how somebody gets in touch with me is if you provide value. So let's say you're not maybe on the same level, or you don't make money, or you're not doing that much. But if you're a good person to be around and you provide values in other ways, like someone makes your life easier, for example, or they're a nice person to be around, they're funny or whatever. And I'll probably bump into people that I'm likely to speak to at places I'm hanging out, which would normally be like probably the gyms I go to. So I'd say get yourself in the best possible gym you can, the best, most expensive sauna you can in your local area. You're going to meet business people. You're going to meet people that are doing bits.
I would also say, don't feel like you have to meet people in order to be successful. Like when I started YouTube, like I said, I think my first 100K subscribers, I was living in Boston, no other YouTubers around me. I was basically in isolation, not because of not because this was back in 2015 or something. I was isolated in terms of my work schedule, but you don't need other people to be successful, right? Like you can also create your own success, and as you start to, because really people who are really successful, if you're not really doing much, they're not going to show you much attention either, because they're going to think you're just looking for a handout, or just like, because if someone's just like, oh, like what's the, like what do you want from them at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
different. You're getting on their level and you just want to have some camaraderie and some brotherhood. That's good, but otherwise meeting the right person is not going to make your life, man. You got to make it yourself. That's the mindset.
Yeah, I'd say I think a lot of people, they want to go into a room and be respected in the room, or they want to just hang out with people that are doing bits basically. And I'd say one of the easiest ways to do that without making it yet, if you haven't made it, is to fight. If you can fight and you can win, and you can put that on YouTube, or you can put that on your Instagram, and you can be the guy who maybe it's just amateur, but you're going in there and fighting. No matter how much money a guy's got, no matter how much clout, he can always respect a fighter. So I find like there's guys I speak to, they're like, this guy's probably 14, 15, 16. They train in the same gym as me. I've got huge respect for them. Whenever they come over, I'll stop what I'm doing. I'll talk to them. And the reason why is because they're Muay Thai fighters in Thailand. They are trained killers. They go in there, they get elbowed in the face. I've watched them fight in the stadium. One of those guys comes up to me, I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm talking to that kid, even if he's just 14, 15 years old. And I wouldn't maybe entertain that normally. Like I'll be a buddy with him because I've got huge respect for what he's doing. So I'd say it's a big one. If you've got the bottle and you can deal with it, learn to fight, and you can get a lot of respect young for being the fighter.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it gives a lot of confidence too. I'm gonna answer this. John's asked this question like 4 times, so let me just. And he said, "Does Gains Club accept athletes if we have a big following?" Just shoot the Gains Club account a message on Instagram. Like shoot them a DM. We have someone managing that account, so they can give you more information. I don't personally run that program. Um, do you train Muay Thai? I trained Muay Thai for a few years actually back in Boston, but
Yeah, the Muay Thai. I love the Muay Thai. I think it's amazing. Tough sport.
so I had
Tough
a
sport, but I love
call
it.
come in. Yeah, no, I trained a few years in Boston. I meant to compete, and then I ended up moving to Texas and tried to.
You see, I think I lost audio on that. Let me just check. There we go. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I've if they call one more time, I may just have to see what's going on in case it's. But this is about.
That's all good. Yeah, if you need it, if you need to take it, that's cool, David.
We'll see if we'll
That's
see if
cool. Do you reckon? Do
yeah, I think we're good.
you reckon you'll do a fight? Do you reckon you'll do a fight now?
It's tough. It's tough because if I'm gonna do a fight, I need to be able to prioritize it over the training because I was
Yeah.
training strictly multiple times a week in Boston. Um, my schedule's a bit hectic now, and I don't know that I would be able to prioritize Muay Thai to the extent that I would like to. If I'm being honest with myself,
Mm.
I like the idea of it, and I say this because
Yeah.
a year ago, I was like, let's get back into this, let's do this, and then between the businesses and travel, I wasn't able to stay consistent, and it's tough because if you as you have more things going on in your life, you do have to prioritize. And me doing some things means not doing other things. And
Mm.
where I'm at now in terms of like the time I have for like physical training, weightlifting 4 times a week is what I prioritize. And I don't know that I have more bandwidth right now. I mean, I could, right? I'm not. You can always prioritize something, right? I would have to stop doing something else in order to take that on.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that would be that I would have to stop doing.
For me, I find, and I think you're probably at the same point by the sounds of it, but for me, fighting, and it's certainly a professional or an amateur fight, is the thing with the most resistance. The thing that I don't that it takes the most out of you. It's fucking hard to train for a fight. So for me, it's very much on the priority list for that exact reason. For me, I struggle sometimes. I'm 24 and making self development content. I think if I can't go onto my channel and prove to my guys that I can fight competitively and show them a very good fight, sort of again and again, then maybe I think it's some way I need to grow personally. I think it's one of those hardships that makes you grow. For me, it's one of those that I've been thinking about a lot recently. I think I'll do it again this year, fight competitively.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's one of those things that you feel. I think in life, like when you have those itches that you feel like need to be scratched, you just have to you got to scratch it, man. You just got to do it. So if we ever link up, we'll have to spar. I'll have to brush up on my skills first, but we'll have to
Yeah,
get a little.
let's do it, man. Let's do it. But if you want to do one, if you think about it and you want to do a fight, get in touch and maybe we can get something organised, or we could just train at the same time. I'll keep you accountable if you want to get
Yeah.
back into it.
Well, the gym
Maybe
I
just
go.
do it one time a week, man.
Yeah,
Maybe just do
no,
it one time a week.
the gym I go to here has a full. I mean, several full rings and cages, and many different instructors. So I could just hire a one-on-one instructor once a week. If I'm chopping this up in my head, we'll say,
Stay sharp. Stay sharp. That's all I
Yeah.
think because you never know when it's going to go down. You could be out there with the wife. Someone starts some trouble. You need to be sharp. You need to be able to knock them out quick time.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is one more. I think Matt's asked this question 10 times. Does the Beastly app include neck workout? So there's no like neck specific training, but it does include a lot of trap training, which is essentially building up your neck. So yes, it does. I don't think there's too much benefit to doing just like neck extensions and things like that. The neck thickness comes more from the upper trap muscle. So that is definitely included in the Beastly app.
And riding motorbikes is big. If you're riding a sport bike and you're trying to keep your head in place and you've got a big helmet on, you're going to get some serious neck training from that. I found my neck getting bigger when I started riding sport bikes.
Bro, you're right. You're right. No, I know, and I've never even ridden sport bikes. When we go to Tulum, we always rent a little moped, and I sit on the front. My wife sits on the back, and I always notice that after a week of being there, you feel it. You feel that in the neck. Yeah.
Get to the like scooter and stuff. A sport bike, you're training. So boys, yeah, get on your motorbikes, boys, and just grow those necks. Oh, I didn't talk to you about AI. I said in the description we talk about AI. Have you looked much into AI? And then I
No, no.
promise I'll let
So,
you go.
I mean, my only experience with AI is like the one that like changes your face into like a superhero, which is cool. But obviously, Chat GPT is more, I think, more like the current trending AI topic, and I've messed around with it, and it's quite shocking. And I know that they're about to release like the next version, which is like I don't know, exponentially more not smarter might not be the right word, but includes exponentially more like information and algorithms and whatnot. Um, I mean, let's see what happens now. I'm curious what you think. For me, it's more just like, wow, when I played around with this, it's quite shocking how responsive and intuitive it seems. But what happens next? That's what I'm curious about. Like what happens next?
I genuinely think that AI will be huge. By this time next year, I think AI will be doing a lot of the things that we do ourselves. I've just started using it. For anyone who watches my channel, the last like 3 thumbnails I've made have all been AI generated through literally text, just a cut out of my face, and then a full-on thumbnails made out of AI, which is just absolutely crazy. And I think the main market and the biggest issue short term to the human race will be the fact that these sex robots will come out. And I think that they will be, I don't think people will want to have a real girlfriend anymore. I genuinely think there'll be robots that do it better. They look after you better. They're like the perfect girlfriend or the perfect boyfriend. I think one of the biggest problems we could face is that there's no children anymore because people just having sex with robots all the time.
Yeah, no, it's I'm looking at your last few thumbnails, by the way. They're pretty cool.
They were
Interesting.
all AI. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, interesting. There's also, because right now there's a lot of like global inflation, and then there's people like I don't know if you know Kathy Wood. She's like a big investment like banker person, but she's predicting a lot of deflation. Like a lot of people are starting to predict like tremendous amounts of deflation because so many jobs will be replaced through technology and AI that businesses will have less need, will have less costs, right? Less employees, and that could cause
Yeah.
a lot of deflation and could cause a lot of different problems in the economy as well. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of what happens next.
I think it's for me. It's not something I'm scared of particularly. I've been staying very close to it and trying to learn it and use it. But I think it presents huge opportunity for anyone who's a young guy out there, which I think a lot of our audience probably is. If you can learn AI and just do your like 18 minutes a day on AI, learning what it's about, you'll be on the forefront, and you don't have to worry then at that point. But make sure you know what it is because this stuff's not going away. No way. This is going to be huge.
Yeah, agreed. I think like anything, when things change, the especially the older you get, like with like short form content, for example, YouTube Shorts, like when the things change, the first instinct is always like, I don't want to deal with this new shit, man. Like that's like, why does
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
But gotta you gotta be you got to adapt when things change. You got to at least be aware of it and at least learn about it a little bit.
100%. What are your plans 2023? Just before we round things up.
Yeah. Just enjoy life in Spain. Honestly, with the wife and the dogs, we're building a villa here that should be done in a few months. We're really excited for. Um,
Awesome.
and then on the grinding ends, it's mainly just building up the brands, man. I need each of the clothing brand is grown consistently year over year. I think we're on the verge of breaking into a much bigger market. And then the supplement brand is like we kind of have to find the footing for that and start scaling outside of my audience. But that's the focus for me, um, as well as enjoying life because I've definitely had some years over the past 5 years where I've just been so brutally hard on myself that I've forgotten to enjoy life. So that's always part of my goal now, in addition to the grinds. But what about you?
Oh, for me, it's we're just releasing. We've got a thing called Gorilla Tribe and a triple testosterone course that's been off market for a while and has a waiting list. That's all coming out. Been rebuilding the website, so that'll be coming out either today or tomorrow. And then this year, I'm going to go crazy on content. I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to collaborate. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to push myself, try and grow as a man, and try and put it all on screen for everyone. I'm going to put myself through some real hard times, and then I'm going to film it all. That's the big plan for me
Well,
this year.
come through Marbella. We'll do a video going through a
Mate,
day in the.
I've been thinking about it. I've heard Marbella is really cool, so I'll come through and I'll hit you up. Where can my guys find you, David, when they watch this on the recording? Where can they find you? What can they buy from you? Plug yourself.
Well, how to on all socials, um, that YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot. And then in terms of the clothing, trying to level up your clothing, Edge Lifestyle, edgelifestyle.com. Gains Club is the supplements. Right now, it's a pre workout and a protein. We got some a banger products coming in a few months to add to the line. That's just gains.club. The Beastly app, really, I promise, guys, really is the best, most complete fitness app in the game. We had a program round up like a top development team in Germany. It implements progressive overload. It adapts your diet and your training as you make progress. That's just search Beastly app on the App Store, and that's enough plugging. That's enough plugging. Those all good stuff.
Good man, good man. You up to much today? What time is it where you are?
Oh, well, it's nighttime already in Dubai, huh? It's 5.
Yeah, well, I'm just about to go out to get a bit of dinner. That's my job after this.
Yeah, it's 5:40 p.m. here, so I'm about to do a little work, then go get a massage and get some dinner.
Good man, good man. Well, pleasure to talk to you, man. Let's stay in touch over Insta and stuff. Thank you for coming on.
For sure, man.
And
I've been seeing your content for a minute. It's good to finally hop on.
yeah, man, you too. And I'll probably see you in 2023 sometime. Be cool to link up.
Definitely. Let me know. Let me know for sure if you're coming through. We'll get that sparring session in and do some other cool stuff as well.
Let's do it. Get back in the gym. You go and do some fighting. You'll be good. You'll be good, man. Awesome. Well, yeah. Have a good 2023, man. Best of luck to you and everything.
And same to you, brother.
Guys, bless. Thanks for coming on. I'll stay on for a sec after David jumps off, and I'll answer a couple of questions with my boys.
Good hanging out.
See you, David.
Yeah, good hanging out with y'all. Hello to everyone new, and I'll talk to y'all later.
See you, How to Beast. Bye, How to Beast.
Stay beastly.
My man, David's a cool guy. That's the first time me and David ever spoken to each other, so that's pretty dope. I like David. I think he's pretty awesome. Boys, if you've got any other questions, fire them in now. I'm actually just about to get ready to go out, but I'll just take you with me. I'll take you with me, and we can just chill. We can chill together. What was that question? Can you come to Dubai Mall? Yeah, we'll do a meet up. I'm leaving on next Monday, so we'll do a meet up before then. What do I want to put on? A couple of socks. You gotta put your socks on. See if we got any more questions. How hard is it to get entry-level sales job 18? I never found it hard at all. Because I've always had the gift of the gab. I've always been a bit of a chatter. So it's always been all right for me. I think you can find, if you go online, there's so many sales jobs out there. It's so easy to find. So just get yourself online, make a CV, you'll be all right. Anyone who is asking, I'm in Dubai at the moment, I'll give you a little view of the view. It's a massive building. We've got a huge building. I'll show you my favourite scent in a second. I've got 3 with me. I've got loads at the moment, but I've got 3 with me, and they're 3 of my favourites. So I'll show you them. We're going out to see Hamza now, because Hamza's actually heading to Thailand, and I'll be joining him after. But I'll be in Dubai a few more days. But they're having a dinner at the moment, so we'll go see what's going on over there. Maybe have a cigar or something. Should be fun. How to improve facial looks. I think there's a lot to be said for the tape on the mouth. A lot of people talk about this. When you get the tape on the mouth to sort your breathing out, I think that's important. I'm quite a nasal breather anyway. I breathe through my nose, so my jaw's developed all right. But I think a lot of people, they get stuck. They don't. They breathe through their mouth. They're like, and they don't look. They don't look as good. So put a bit of tape over your mouth when you sleep. It's going to make you do that nasal breathing. I'll hopefully be doing some podcasts. I haven't got any lined up at the moment, but we'll see. I'm seeing my dad tomorrow. I'm very much looking forward to that, and try and do a video with my dad, secret video. So that'll be fun. White teeth hacks. My first sales job, white teeth hacks. I got my teeth whitened once. It was the most painful experience of my entire life. I haven't had them whitened since. I just get them polished in the dentist. Just go and get them polished. Get your teeth looked after. Whitening them takes the enamel off, so sometimes it can hurt a bit. My first sales job was punting up and down the river in Cambridge. So I was rowing boats up and down the river, giving little rowing tours, saying, "Oh, on the left here, we've got St Mary's College, and this is where St Mary went to school." And that was what I was doing, giving these little tours in Cambridge and trying to sell these tours. So that was my first one. And I sold doors and windows, sold telephone systems, lots of bits and bobs. Yeah, Dubai, top 5 places you'd never go. I think you've got to see it, haven't you? Thurston's not in Dubai, by the way. Thurston's away. Thurston's on holiday. This is one of my favourites, fragrances. Bleu de Chanel. We'll be putting this one on tonight. 4 sprays. That's a classic. It's a good evening perfume. Then we've got this one, which was from my girlfriend, Gucci Guilty, the green bottle. First time I've used this, one of my absolute favourites now, really nice. And the third one I bought with me is Prada Carbon, another excellent fragrance. So there you go, there's my top three, boys. There's my top three at the moment. Love those. How do I put my mind into something I don't feel like doing? I think we all struggle with this. Even David Goggins struggles with this. I'm listening to David Goggins' new audiobook at the moment. Even he got to a point where he couldn't challenge himself as much as he wanted to. And I think one of the most important things to do is we're constantly going to have those moments where you're telling yourself you don't want to do something. So I get it in the gym all the time. I'm training a lot more legs recently, trying to get bigger, trying to sort my legs out. And every time I go in, I go, oh no, we can do one less set. Oh, we'll do legs tomorrow. It's that little voice. It's that tiny thing that gives you an excuse. That's the voice you have to consistently battle. And you just have to do the stuff you don't want to do. You just have to, when you're in that gym, you just get yourself over just say, I'll do one set. I'll do one set of legs rather than not do it. Boom, you're on there now. And then when you've done one set, you're like, all right, let's do one more. And then boom, you finish your set. You do your 3 sets. You got to trick yourself sometimes. There's a demon in your head, and you've got to play games with him. You got to trick him. You got to say, look, we're only going to do a little bit of this, and then you get him all the way in the end. You got to treat yourself like a child sometimes, and not get too upset with yourself. I'm nowhere near the man I aspire to be. I know I've come a long way, and I'm proud of myself in ways. I'm proud of what I've done. But for me, I'm nowhere near the man I aspire to be. Yeah, the man I aspire to be can speak 4 languages. At the moment, I can only speak one well, and then I can speak a very small amount of a few others. I want to be able to play music, guitar, piano. I want to be an extremely good fighter. So there's loads of different things. But I think it's a lifelong journey, isn't it? We can't have it all achieved now, but I'm always striving for more. 100%. Jack's height, 5'11". What will be the cost of the Gorilla Tribe? You'll have to see. I think we're sending out a couple of discounts to the waiting list, so you may receive one. I think we're going to send out. Actually, I think everyone on the waiting list is going to get a discount on the tribe price when we send that out, either today or tomorrow. I think it will actually be tomorrow now. But yeah, everyone who's on there will get a discount for being part of that waiting list. I want to be able to speak Spanish. I can speak a little bit. I'll give you an example. Hola, ¿cómo estás? La cuenta, por favor, which means the bill, please. And that's literally about, oh, mi amo Jack, ti amo. That's literally all I can speak Spanish, but I've been trying to learn a little bit of Spanish. Thai, obviously, because I live in Thailand. Sawadee Krap, Sawadee Mai Krap, Shialai Krap, just a little bit of Thai. What else would be a good one? English, Spanish, Thai, Russian, just because sometimes you need to pull out a little bit of Russian. Maybe some French. The Frenchies, bonjour, ça va? Let's have a look. Maybe Arabic, yeah. Maybe Arabic. My income, I'll share it with you boys. Why not? I'll share it with you. No problem. At the moment, I haven't been making a lot because I've had all the tribe down, and obviously you guys can see the only thing you can still buy from me is my mentorship. So I've done a few mentorships. Got a few guys on mentorship at the moment. So probably did just under 10K in December, which was a very low month for me. November was about £33,000, about $36,000 with course sales. So at the top I've done at the moment, I can make about £1,000 a day, about $1,200 a day. I can do through course sales, but we've got some big plans. I think this year I'll hopefully be able to show you boys myself becoming A millionaire, we've got some huge plans in regards to what I'm learning about sales funnels and marketing and various different things. So I'm looking forward to doing some content on that, showing you boys how we do it. I think it's such a good, valuable skill to learn. But yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. So not earning a huge amount. That'll spike soon because we'll be bringing courses back out. We'll have new things. So the plan is 100K a month in 2023. We want to hit that. Get that good money, and then you'll see the content fucking level up. I'm going to spend it on experiences. I'm going to spend it on meetups for Gorilla Tribe. I'm going to get everyone together. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a big year. Thoughts on monk mode, very important. Sometimes you just got to focus. You just got to get it in. You just got to sort it. Would you ever make an interesting video? I hope so. Most of my videos are interesting. Oh no. Would I ever make an investing video? This is what I think about investing. If you're messing around with a couple £100 or even a couple £1,000 or dollars, invest in yourself, invest in your courses and your network. If you can get around someone that's going to help you make 10K a month, 20K a month, do that. Invest in yourself, invest in your experiences. Investing's for a different time, boys. That's for when you're making big cash. Put it somewhere rather than spend it all. Put it in those assets that return for you. But I would say at the moment, if you're not earning too much, invest it back in yourself. Get the best gym, meet some new business people. That's going to be a better ROI than what you'll get from saving. Money at 13, I had a paper round. That's as simple as it was. It taught me getting up early. I literally worked for $20 a week, getting up early at 13 every single day, or 6 days a week, getting up 6 a.m., delivering papers for no money. Gives you a bit of a work ethic. So 13 years old, I'll do that. Not many people are going to hire you at 13. That's absolutely fine. You've got lessons to learn. You've got things to do. Get yourself a simple little job. Do bits and bobs. Do things where you can. It's amazing. You've got the work ethic at 13. I think that's awesome. Keep doing that. Jack, how do you put yourself out there when you have facial asymmetries and big ears? I had the love of my mother's a wonderful person. So my mother filled me with a huge amount of confidence from a young age and just told me I was gorgeous and brilliantly handsome. So I've always had confidence, and I think, who gives a fuck, man, what you look like? It doesn't matter, just don't do your thing. Some people look like orcs. At least I don't look like an orc. Yeah, I think a lot of it's the love of my mother. She made me feel very good. Made me feel good when I was younger. So I feel fine putting myself out there. And I also think people don't care so much about how you look. I meet ugly people all the time. I don't live in Dubai for him. I'm just here visiting. To live a good life in Dubai, you'd need some money. You'd need 10K a month. You'd be pretty broke here. You'd want 20K, I think, to live a decent life here. Yeah, haters gonna hate. Brandon, haters are gonna hate. That's what they do. What time are we on? We've got to get to dinner. I'm getting pretty hungry. Oh, good stream, David. Legendary stuff. I'll do a couple more questions and then we'll go. No, I haven't moved to Dubai. I'm still living in Thailand. I love Thailand. It's the best place on earth. It's the home of the free. It's the best. Yeah, it's the best thing you can do. Yeah, motivation comes after doing the thing itself. It does. That's absolutely true. If I'm unmotivated, I sit down, I get the work done. That's when the motivation comes, is afterwards. If you're waiting for it before, it's never going to come. Would I write a book? Absolutely. I will write a book. Well, absolutely. Snakes aren't a problem in Dubai, in Thailand. Yeah, Fahim, legendary, absolute, good lads. Jersey Russell, Lava Biker 93, Leicester City 99. You're all good people. Revenue producer, thank you for being on the stream. Appreciate the support, all 103 of you, of course. Big content coming soon. Gorilla Tribe opening back up. Huge things in 2023. We're all going to level up. We're all going to make it. Boys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, go hit up my Instagram at Jack Hop Fitness. If you want to message me, I do reply sometimes. Sometimes I don't. A lot of my messages get funneled away into like hidden requests. If I see something, if you've got a question, you can always ask me if you want to follow me on Insta. I do stories every day as well. Yeah. How is it with money and your girl? You make a lot of money. How does your girl make money, or do you pay for her, or is she making her own money? I pay for her. I sort her out. My girlfriend was Thai, and she was making $250 a month, working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and that was not something I was willing to see somebody that I love do at all. So I support her, and it's one of the best things I've ever done. It feels amazing. She's an awesome girl. We've got a great relationship, so that's really, really good. And yeah, I look out for her 100%. Make sure she's sorted. My IG at Jack Hop Fitness. Oh, you're not even asking for mine. I'm going for dinner with Hamza. So see you boys in a bit. And you're all legends. Love you lots.